Hello, welcome back to another transfer roundup. This one is going to be interesting because, there's only 4. Look, there's only 4 transfers. This is going to be a really short one. There's not much going on at all. Okay, I'm joking. This is the first 4 transfers, and then we will look at the NA and EU regions that have gone absolutely bananas. Anyway, let's take a look at these transfers to start off with, and then we'll get into those 2 big chunky regions. 5 transfers, I should say, across the 4 different regions here. So, 1 in Korea, this is the retirement of Zelgidis. I'll get there in the end. As a coach, I wish him all the best into whatever he does next. And then the Chinese coach LNLD he was on a 2-way, actually, between Sheer Cold in the EU and Lucky Future Zenith in China. Lucky Future Zenith had been inactive for a while. They were the team that spent big bucks getting a load of XL players, and it really didn't work. And he's now giving up his role at Sheer Cold to go back to Lucky Future Zenith. They clearly intend to come back in this Chinese Contenders season if they are doing that, and I wish him all the best with that Lucky Future Zenith team. It'll be interesting to see how that takes form in this next season of Contenders, and I need to stop saying this thing I say after every single thing. I really do. Brazil, and we have a Brazilian support player, Evil. He's leaving Warpigs and will be retiring. Again, this is not a surprise, with the South American region of Contenders no longer being a thing. A lot of people are either retiring or moving on to different games, and I hope they can do well in whatever they do next. I know that's a really tough thing, but not to have a Contenders region to actually just go for is really tough. And those players and teams would have to play on ping in other regions to go for a Contenders title, and that would be really difficult. Anyway, the 2 from Overwatch League will be the Korean DPS player Assassin moving into the Washington Justice, coming in from Runaway originally, actually. Nice pickup for the Justice, gives them much more depth compared to just having Tuber in that flex DPS role. I think it's a really nice pickup, and I think Assassin will do well. I don't know whether he will be one of the best in the league, but he will do well, I think, at the Justice. And then we have Twinkle, who was a Korean coach for the London Spitfire last season. He's one of the only people at the Spitfire, or the Spitfire of last season, to have not found somewhere. J-Mac, the tank, he's now coach of Paris. You've got Agape, who's gone over to San Francisco Shock. A lot of people have found homes from that London team, whether that be in Contenders or Overwatch League. Twinkle was one of the ones that didn't, and he will be retiring from Overwatch. And we will see what he does next, or if he ever comes back to Overwatch. But that covers our 4 weird transfers, shall we say. Now we move on to the big load. Oh boy. Okay. Let's start off with EU, because, my goodness me, there's 2 columns. Okay. First off, we have the Polish DPS player Dania. He will be retiring from Overwatch. That is really unfortunate. Another name that's been around for a while that it's gone. Very, very unfortunate, and I wish him all the best. The Dutch support player Ange will be leaving Avoided and will no longer be assigned, and I wish him all the best in finding a team to play for. A lot of unassigned coming up here. So, Angry Titans will be letting go of their French coach Tarteg, their Polish coach Mac, their French manager Young Cha, their Italian support Katie Comey. I hope I got that right. And then the Danish DPS player Biju. All of them leaving Angry Titans, and I hope they can find new teams soon. Then we see people leaving Young and Beautiful. This is ahead of their new roster coming in. So this will be the American coach Spackle, the French coach Lilbo, the Dutch support player Lucht, the Romanian support player Sky Ripper, the Swedish DPS player Monk Mutter, and then the Norwegian DPS player Liquids. They will all be leaving Young and Beautiful. Some of them will be finding new teams, because we'll be going through them in a minute. But yes, I do wish them all the best. And talking of Yikids and Sky Ripper, who we've just talked about, they will be coming into the British Hurricane, and they will make part of the new British Hurricane roster. Now, obviously, British Hurricane are current Contenders champions in the EU. They are current Gauntlet champions of EU, and their roster has pretty much entirely been promoted to the London Spitfire of the Overwatch League. Now they have to replace that. So the first 2 replacements are Yikids and Sky Ripper on the support role, and on the DPS role, they will be bringing in the Finnish tank player Vestola from Ex-Oblivione. They will also be bringing in the Estonian support player Admiral Raptor, or Admiral. They will be bringing in the Swiss tank player Helv, both from Obey Alliance there. And then it will be the return of the Swedish DPS player Sparker. I am not too surprised that Sparker is currently ineligible for the Overwatch League. He is the only surviving member of the previous British Hurricane roster to be still on the British Hurricane. He is on a 2-way contract for the London Spitfire. The reason for this? Sparker is not eligible for the first part of the season for the London Spitfire. He is too young. So, the British Hurricane are going to keep him going, keep him fresh, keep him sharp, and they will be probably fully promoting him when he becomes of age to play in the Overwatch League. This is something I thought might happen when I saw Sparker promoted to the Spitfire, and I wish him all the best for his, I said it again, my goodness me, this is getting a habit. I'm sure he will be a very great help actually for his experience, despite his age, his experience in Contenders with the Hurricane. Although this is a experienced Hurricane roster, I think this is also a roster that could do quite well for the Hurricane. It's parts that have been around the EU Contenders scene for a while, but it's parts that put together with the right coaching could do very well. So I think this is a promising Hurricane roster to try and carry on that dynasty that they've had at the top of EU Contenders. Anyway, we see that the Pakistani coach IQB is coming out of retirement and will currently be looking for a team. That would scream to me that either he's taken a break and wants to come back, or there is a team interested in his services. Either way, I wish him all the best, I said it again, in trying to find a team to coach. Then we have New Kings. New Kings will be continuing into this Overwatch Contender season for 2021. They will be bringing in the United Kingdom manager Scalings. He will be working alongside the Saudi Arabian substitute Antigon, and also the Lebanese substitute Kek Bondi. They will be also backed up by the French support player Drido, the Czech Republic support player Exarath, the Saudi Arabian tank KSA, who we saw in Overwatch League not so long ago with the Vancouver Titans, and then the Irish DPS player Grathan will also be playing for New Kings. I wish them well. I changed it slightly that time. I wish them well in their Contenders season coming up, and it's a very different New Kings roster to what it was, but I think it can do okay. There's a lot of interesting teams in the EU this time though, so it's not going to be easy, even for the likes of the Hurricane. So, talking of the EU, we're continuing on. Ad Astra per Aspera, they will be letting go the UK support player Invin and the Romanian DPS player Cucubeu. They will be no longer assigned, and hopefully they can find new teams not too far away from now. Then Ad Astra per Aspera will be letting in these players. So, the French coach Sways, the French support Nat, and the French support Star Boy. The Irish tank player Pure Irish. Good to see Pure Irish is still around. The Danish DPS player Shikari, and then the Swiss DPS player Ace. There's a lot of Danish talent around. You've noticed that there's a lot coming into the Overwatch League, likes of Shockwave, and the likes of London Spitfire now, and Naga at the Paris Tunnel, and there's still a lot in Contenders. Denmark, you're doing well with that talent you've got going there. But they're all coming into Ad Astra per Aspera, and I hope they can really prove themselves in this Contender season coming up. The German tank Alex 2704. You don't often see numbers at ends of names in PC Overwatch realms. Anyway, he'll be leaving Sheer Cold and will no longer be assigned. I hope he can find a new team with post haste. And then we see a return of an old team. I am so glad these guys are back. It is the return of the Raspberry Racers. Oh, the Raspberry Racers were they disappeared when Obey Alliance took them over, the org. Now that has changed though. Obey Alliance doesn't currently have a roster, but the Raspberry Racers are most certainly back, and back with a brand new roster. Okay, so they will be bringing in 2 players from Dubai Sandstorm. This will be the Saudi Arabian support player Samajid and the Swedish support player Gustav. Then they will be bringing in 3 from Obey Alliance of all places here. First of all, the Finnish manager Pled and the Polish manager Gen.G, and then the Turkish support player Lethal will all be coming into Raspberry Racers. Then the Finnish DPS player Cloud will be coming into Raspberry Racers from Ex-Oblivione. I wish him the best. And 2 tank players coming into Raspberry Racers, both unassigned. This will be the Icelandic tank player Finzi and the Danish tank player Doge. Oh, it's nice to have the Raspberry Racers back, and I really hope they do well in this season, because if there's anyone I'm not going to support if there's anyone I'm going to support outside of the Hurricane, it's going to be the Raspberry Racers. I love the branding of that team. It is fantastic. It's great to see them back. So, for leaving Shoes Monaco EU, this will be the German tank player Naru, the Danish tank player Hengenson, the Swedish DPS player Cage, and the French DPS player Nico. Nico, he's had a tough time of it since leaving the Overwatch League, hasn't he? No one got, leaving, he kind of got forced out of the Overwatch League, or whatever. No one's kind of picked him up, and now he's finding himself without a Contenders team as well, so that's a little bit rough. One coming into 4th Dimension will be the French tank player Julot. I wish him all the best as he links up with that new team. And then we see another retirement. This is the retirement of the German support player Refid from sheer cold. And hopefully he does well in whatever he does next. And then to round out the EU region, we have 2 more in at the London Spitfire. Not the London Spitfire, but close enough. British Hurricane. This is the start of their new coaching roster. This is the American coach John coming in from Team Doge. Fairly prestigious team to come in from, even though Team Doge aren't competing anymore. Then it will also be their head coach will be filled by the Russian tank player Zhao, who is coming in from a Bay Alliance. Very interesting. Very similar to what British Hurricane did previously with Fisher, the DPS player. Yeah, not Fisher the tank player. Fisher the DPS player. I believe he's Danish. He came in to head up the coaching at British Hurricane after leaving as a player, and they ended up doing very, very well, and now he's part of London Spitfire coaching staff. So I think that's actually a pretty good move. They're following the model that's worked for the British Hurricane, and we will see if it pays dividends in this coming season. So, moving over to North America, because I'm sure some people have been waiting for that. The Czech support player Exarath will be leaving Square One. Again, we mentioned Exarath coming into New Kings in the EU region. Square One have disbanded, unfortunately, so we're going to hear more from them in a minute. Also, we see the American manager Lil Lucio leaving Susano. He will no longer be assigned. Then we see the American support player Fix. He will be leaving We Want Al, and I wish him all the best in finding a new team. And I said it again. Oh no. Then we have a new Korean coach coming in to a new team that's going to be competing in the North American region. He'll be head coach of Ardor NA. I believe they also have a Korean division as well. This will be Batyuk. Moving on. I hope he does well. Moving on. The American tank player Cucumber will be leaving American Tornado and will no longer be assigned. Here we see the rest of the outings at Square One come back through. This is the Canadian coach Feichel, the Portuguese coach Gizmom. I'm going to call him Gizmom. That's what I'm going to call him. American coach Empress, the Scottish manager Olwyn, and then the American manager Wow will be leaving Square One. Obviously, Square One disbanded. It's unfortunate to see, and I hope everyone who was at Square One is able to find a new home. Then we have Side Hustle making an appearance. Yes, Side Hustle, new team in NA. They will be made up of 2 American managers, Secret and Soyon. There will be 2 support players from America, Madeira and Fishcake, the American tank Maximus, the Finnish tank player Milky Man, the British DPS player Ellie, the Panama DPS player Edisty, and then the American DPS player N2S. Some recognizable names from contenders here coming into Side Hustle, and I wish them all the best. I just said it again, I can't help it. Dark Mode NA will be letting go of the Korean tank player Think. He will no longer be assigned, and we will see if he tries to find a new team and what region that is in. Then we see the Australian coach Joel. He is part of Ground Zero Gaming, but he's now going to have a 2-way role with Ground Zero Gaming and a new team in the North American region called Delhi Destroyers. And their roster will be made up of these players. 2 support players from America, this is Lyra and Pascal. The tank player from America, Cruel. They will all be coming in from Kratos. Kratos don't have a roster, I don't believe, right now. And then we see a bunch of unassigned people coming in to Delhi Destroyers as well. This will be the 2 DPS players, Cabe and Chopper, the tank player Akash, and then the coach Static will all be coming in. It's a fully American roster apart from that little kick of Australian in the coaching, and I hope they do well in this up-and-coming season. Then we see a new tank player to replace Cucumber coming into American Tornado. This to be the Canadian tank player False. and he'll be coming to American Tornado, one of the best teams in NA right now, and hoping to defend their crown. Then we see Imp, who is an American manager. They will be leaving Delhi Destroyers, and I hope they can find a new team to manage very, very soon. And we will round this video out at Dark Mode NA, as they announced their new roster. They did very well in NA Gauntlet at the end of last season, doing well with Muma and JMac at the helm of their coaching. Yes, the two perhaps poorest tanks from last year in Overwatch League. Anyway, this is a new Dark Mode. This is a new Dark Mode NA. It will be made up of the Japanese support player Supreme coming in from Drifters. Then we will see the Australian coach Owtru, yes, from the Los Angeles Valiant, or what was the Los Angeles Valiant. This is a theme for Dark Mode NA. He'll be coming in to coach his team alongside the American support Landon, the Australian tank Adam. He's back from his very unfortunate stint at the Valiant. He'll be coming out with Dark Mode NA alongside his main tank partner Dreamer. Dreamer and Adam are back. They had a little stint in Korea with a team that was playing in the Open Test, which is the Korean equivalent of Open Division. But they're back in NA Contenders right now, and I'm sure that's where they want to be. It's going to be super interesting to see how they do in NA Contenders. I think it's going to be awesome. But then we have the two DPS players from America, Aspire and Tree. They will all be coming into Dark Mode NA, and to assist with the coaching alongside Owtru, we will see McGravy is out of retirement and coming in to coach Dark Mode NA. That is interesting. Owtru and McGravy coaching Dark Mode NA with a Dreamer Adam tank line. I really like that. I think Dark Mode NA could challenge American Tornado. It's going to be a super interesting contender season in North America, and I think it's wide open, to be quite honest. American Tornado, they will be the favourites coming into it, but a lot has changed, and Dark Mode NA are coming up, breathing down their necks with a lot of great coaching staff and certainly a great tank line. So it's going to be super interesting, but I'm going to leave it here for this one. All the socials are linked in the video description as per usual. It's been a lengthy one because of the two chunky NA and EU regions. They are getting ready for their new Contenders seasons and Open Division seasons, of course. And so after those Contender seasons start, it starts to get a little bit quieter. But for now, thank you guys so much for this video. If you'd like to give a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video. See you then.